So just to recap, we're going to start with going over the MetaTrader 4 environment and getting a feel for how I set up my environment and just do this. How I set up my environment and indicators that you need to have on your desktop. Also, how to save your settings so that you don't have to remember your Telegram ID and things of that nature. Okay, so I definitely want to start with that. So, like I mentioned, we have 4 indicators that I use: the 20, the 50, the 100, the 200. I would ask that, if you haven't loaded that template, you should load it. That template that I sent has these settings saved. So basically, I'll start with that there. Basically, where you want to save that template that I dropped in the group it should be placed here. If you went to File, just File, and let's see, File, where's File? File, geez. File and Open Data Folder. That File Open Data Folder, it's going to open a folder here where your MetaTrader 4 is installed. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to place that template right in this folder. Okay, everyone, so you would gather, you would go here to the community group. In the community group, I uploaded a template here. You can right click it. You can click Save As. You could save it in your Downloads folder, wherever you wish to save it. And what you need to do is copy it from that folder over to this templates folder. You can double click that folder and you can drop it there. I mean, I want to make sure that, this should be super easy. We should all have, if we don't know how to navigate and copy and paste files, then raise your hand. We need to be able to go over that. But this is, these are Windows. If we've been using a machine, we should know how to go to our Downloads folder, press, right click, copy, navigate to another folder, which would be this, and paste that folder here. Here's the file right here, Lightning Bolts. Is everyone good with that? Let me get a thumbs up or a thumbs down so I know how things go. Yeah, Michael, you on Mac, yeah, you've got a different animal going on, but I know that we can definitely copy it over, and I was posing about wine and such. So it seems like I bet you have it. You say that it works for you, so I could imagine that you have that going for you, where you can copy and paste this template into the templates folder, and it's called Lightning Bolt.
Hey, I think you got you got Giuseppe and a guy named Kyle. They're trying to get in Zoom, but can't get in.
Oh yeah, I've got a few people here. Admit all, there we go. Let's let them join. Excellent. Okay, so, once again, we want to go over how do we set up our environment. And the first thing is, for example, this template that I've loaded with all of my 4 simple moving averages, I put it in the templates folder. And to get there, once again, you would go to File and Open Data Folder within MetaTrader 4. You just click File and Open Data Folder, drop it here. Now that you've got that, if you were to right click this here, actually what I will do is I will remove all of this just to show you. Right, and I will remove my indicator list. If you've saved that file in the templates folder, all you need to do is right-click the chart anywhere, template, and all you have to do is click on Lightning Bolts. You saved it there. It's template Lightning Bolt. And that will automatically load the 4 simple moving averages. It's not loading your Lightning Bolt indicator because I don't want to confuse people. You might have saved your lightning bolt indicator in folders or subfolders of Expert Advisor. For example, mine is stored under MQL4. Those that I've walked through, they've put their Expert Advisor right here in Expert. I have mine under Squawk Trade, I believe. Yeah, Lightning Bolt. Others may have created other folders. So if you've loaded that file, that template file, and you also still see and know that the lightning bolt indicator is running.
Are you using the 20 still? Are you using the 20 still?
I'm sorry? Hello?
You need to mute him. He didn't mean to do that.
Okay. So, so if you've loaded this template, what you can do is you can verify if your lightning bolt strategy is running by just simply right-clicking, and you should be able to go to Expert Advisors, and you will see properties. If you click properties, you'll get the properties for the ALGOKING Lightning Bolt. If you right-click the chart and you go to Expert Advisors, or you don't even see the Expert Advisors there under Object List, that means no Expert Advisor is loaded. And this is an opportunity for you to then go into your navigation window here, and you should be able to then go and find your ALGOKING Lightning Bolt Expert Advisor. You could drag that on the chart or double click the file on the chart. And in my case, it's asking me to load it again. I don't need to. And what it will do is it will bring up the properties window. And here is where you would enter your Telegram ID. Everyone good with that?
Where do you find the Telegram ID? Whenever I uploaded the new template, it deleted out my lightning bolt strategy. So,
okay. So your Telegram ID, you can get it both ways. You can either email me and I'll just send it to you. It's very quick.
Okay.
Or you can type in Telegram, my ID bot, right? So if you searched at my ID bot, you would click that, and that would then give you I can show you mine. You can, once you load that, you can click on Get ID. This is not going to give you anything because you're not linked to my accounts and can't log into the accounts. You would click on the Get ID, or you would run the Get ID command, and it will return your ID. And the ID you can copy by multiple ways people copy. You can either click and drag it, but you may risk copying spaces, and that's gonna, a lot of people said, hey, I copied the ID in, it still doesn't work, probably because you had spaces. So the best way to do it is to double click the number, double click it, and you can Control C to copy, or you can right click and you can click copy selected text. This is just standard. This isn't even trading, right? This is just how to navigate your Windows environment on copy and pasting. But the Telegram ID is tricky. It is tricky. So that's why I showed you what you need to do is you need to go to the Get ID bot, and you can then run the Get ID command. It'll tell you, and then there it'll return your Telegram ID.
Got it. Thanks.
And what you'll do is you'll double click this Telegram ID field, and you would then save that value. And Michael, you read my mind. I was definitely going in that direction. So thank you very much. I appreciate that. We don't want to save, we don't want to remember that number, right? That number, we've got so many codes in our head, passwords, IDs, phone numbers. All you have to do is once you click it here, click save, right? And then you can call it Lightning Bolt. This is different than the Lightning Bolt template that we saved. The Lightning Bolt template applies to the entire chart. What we're saving here only applies to the settings of the indicator. So if I save this and I click yes, right? Say I reset this and I don't have the value. If I wanted to, I can click load, and I can click on Lightning Bolt, and it'll load my ID automatically. But if you've done this, right, and this is what I'm getting to, this is all building up to this. If you've done this and you've clicked OK, it would load the indicator. But now you can right click and you can save the template with your MetaTrader ID in it. You can save the template with your 4 SMAs, your Lightning Bolt indicator, or EA, and the ID setting. So you can then go to, once again, you will right click, template. You can click Save As. You only have to do this once. Save template as Lightning Bolt. There may be reasons why you want more, different names. It's going to be depending on the settings that you have within your indicator. And I'll explain that to you, because sometimes you may have, if you go into Expert Advisors, what's being released, hopefully tonight, is you have a conservative and aggressive mode. So for example, if you notice, and I'm jumping the gun, I don't want to go into this yet. I just want to just touch on this. For example, this move here that you guys see here, we missed this move, right? If you were solely relying on the indicator, we've missed this move. So we can change this from conservative to aggressive, and it should find those moves. So aggressive gives you a heck of a lot more moves. Now, what I recommend, and I'll touch on this, is that I would not run aggressive unless you know that you're running it with other confirmations, right? That you're going to run it with Andy's dot-to-dot trend lines. You're going to run it with your drawn support and resistance. Whatever you use that you feel confident in as a confirmation, you would run it with that to make sure that, that should allow you to filter things out, right? Because not all of these moves are going to be crossing or touching Andy's trend lines, per se, or your own trend lines, per se. So it's going to give you these moves, but it's going to give you a lot more that could possibly be false alarms if you didn't do your due diligence and filter them out with your confidences. But we'll talk about that coming up, right? So I will just go to Expert Advisors, Properties. I'll change this back to conservative for now. So now, let's see here, template. Options. Also, I'll talk about this link. So this link, as we know, the only way you can authorize, and this is my dev machine, so you may see some extra stuff that you may not have yet, but the only way you can get access to the indicator is if you go into Tools, Options, and you've all done this because that's why you're here, you're able to load it up. Tools, Options, Expert Advisors, and you need to allow for web requests, and then you need to save that URL that we put in the instructions here so that now that can perform a web request and authenticate you. Right. So I'll load this. All right, so I'll load it, Lightning Bolt, boom. If you notice, if I save this, this is by default set to bars equals 300, right? So if you don't see signals, or you just see like 1 or 2 signals, right? For example, here, right? You don't even see any. I'll load this up. I believe this is it. Right, load. You notice I don't have the setting. I will load. I will click on Lightning Bolt. The setting is 300. I like it at 1,000 bars. That means that you're going to see signals for 1,000 bars back in time. So it starts from the 1,000th bar, and it starts looking back in history. What's my setup? It goes to 999, the 999th bar. It looks back in history and says, what's my setup? Is there a setup? Is there a signal? And it keeps doing that until you get to the current bar. Right? So I will save that, right? So if you have a custom setting, like mine is a custom setting, because by default it's set to 300, right? I will go to Expert Advisors, Properties, and I'm going to say bars is 1,000. By default, it is 300. I'm going to save this template as Lightning Bolt. So the next time I load it, Take a look. Next time I load it, if I reset this, you see it's set to 300. If I load it, it's going to pull up those saved settings and give you, oh, let me more people. It's going to give you, thanks a lot, Kyle. It's going to give you your default settings. People, if you've got noise in the background, I ask that you please mute. Thank you much. Right. So that's how we manage our settings. So you can have settings that you can quickly recall and load into your chart. Right. So we've gone over a template that has all 4 simple moving averages. You don't have to load them for every chart. Once you open up a chart, it's going to be blank, and all you have to do is right click and load that template. And we also talked about saving settings for the actual lightning bolt indicator itself. Do we have any questions about that? Anyone? If you have a question, please, don't be afraid to ask. We're all growing together. I just want to make sure that we're all up to speed. And and then we could also support each other. If people do have questions in the group, we all will be in the know, and we can assist individuals in the group as well. Everyone good? Can I see a thumbs up or something?
Good.
Good, perfect.
Rude.
Thank you much. Now, let's talk about how I look at my charts, right? So if I'm focused on US 30, I have 5 charts loaded for each time frame that I'm looking at, right? So I have the minute 1, the 5 minute, the 15, the 30, and the 1 hour. I keep them loaded. And why do I do that? As opposed to, why do I like that instead of using these buttons here? These buttons, right? The reason why I don't use these buttons up here when I'm trading, so that's why I keep these in red. What I like are the green buttons. I'm sorry, the multi-tabs. That's what I like. And the reason why I like it is because if you just have one chart open and say you're on the 1 minute, you're not going to get the signals and the setups from the 5 minute, the 15 minute, the 30 minute, and the 1 hour, right? Because the chart's got to be loaded and the EA has got to be running to signal you, right, on your local machine. Right, so that's why I keep these loaded. So if I were to load charts up, right, so check this out. So if I were to load this up, let me load a chart. All right, for example, the NAS 100. No, that's a bad example. It's loaded. Let me just open a brand new window. I'll right click, chart window. Right, so I've got my chart window. My indicators, I'll remove this because by default, I have, and that's another thing we'll go through. By default, I load everything at once on every chart that's loaded. No, I don't have to load a template, but that's another setting we'll get to. So if I were to load this chart up with nothing, all I have to do is right click, templates, lightning bolt, and I've loaded my lightning bolt settings in the indicator. Boom. There you have it, right? And there's more because I loaded it, although it looked like there was only a few here, I set it for 1,000 bars. So I could go back up to 1,000 bars and get signals. So I highly recommend you use these, you have multiple time frames opened. You've got your 1 minute, your 5, your 15, your 30, and your 1 hour. So that as these signals are painting, you can toggle between each one and see exactly what's going on without, snuffing your opportunity to receive a signal. So I'll give you all an opportunity right now to set that up, and this is nice, but I'll give you all an opportunity to set that up with your 5 time periods for whatever instrument you trade. I know we focused on Jeremy, Trip, and everyone else that's from Andy's group. We do focus on US 30, and of course a lot more, but I think we go live with US 30 and US 100 more often than we do other instruments. So I'll give you all a minute to just get the feel of loading the template, and no one should be trading right now. Although this looks very tempting. Don't do it, it's not. Load up your 5 charts by just right-clicking your symbol, and you click chart window, and that opens up a brand new chart. Open them up, change them to your different time periods, and then right-click and load your template. Everyone who is not, is there anyone that needs help now? Because we can go into a break group and I can assist you there. Is there anyone that's not up and running just yet? Is everyone good, or do you feel comfortable with loading it, on your own time if you don't have it completely set up right now? Good to go, everyone? Yeah?
Good.
Thank you much. Okay, cool. So now that this is set up, now we can talk about the next segment we could talk about is how to trade the Lightning Bolt.